Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you the basics of making an orthographic drawing. And today we're just going to draw a very simple profile of a house. So usually I begin with a simple ground line, okay? And in this ground line, I'm just going to draw the basic box of the structure that I'm going to make. So let's just imagine that this is a very simple house with a simple asymmetrical roof like this. Okay? So actually now the real height of my house is going to be that high. So I am going to extend these guidelines upwards, and that guideline is going to help me draw the top of the house. So the fundamental thing about orthographic drawing is that you only see one side at a time, right? So now that we're looking at the top of the house, it is the time where we want to define how deep this structure is because we can't see that over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a compass and I'm just going to create a measurement, right? A distance that tells me that the top of my house is going to be that deep, okay? So just as these lines went up this way, I'm going to make a construction line from the tip of the roof going up. And so if I darken it later, that is going to be the tip of my roof. So I am going to darken the contour line so that you can see very clearly. In an orthographic drawing, the contour lines are really the only lines that you use because there is no shading, because there's no light in the orthographic drawing. It is completely linear, right? And it is completely made with contour lines. So there's no distortion. It is completely measurable. Okay, so I'm just drawing the edge of the house as it is seen on the top, and I'm going to draw in the line that defines the pitch of the roof. Okay, so now that we have that, we can now move to this side of the house. I have the the depth of the wall based on this measurement, right? So now I can just take that measurement and transfer it over here. So I take my compass, I put it on the guideline, I give it a mark, and now we have the thickness, the depth of the house as seen from the side. So I'm going to bring the guideline up as well. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm also going to draw that in so that it's completely dark. Okay, so now you can see the difference between, the difference between a guideline and a construction line. Okay, the construction lines obviously are made in red so that we can see it better. Okay. So that is the top of my roof. This is the bottom of my roof. And if you notice, you've created a box up here. We're going to use this box to create a reflection line, okay? The reflection line is the diagonal from the lower corner of the box to the top of the box, okay? And we're going to figure out why that's there in a second. So let me just draw this side of the house. Again, we have the depth of the house as it is indicated with the compass right here. So I'm going to take my compass, and I'm going to draw that in over here. And now I can create the left side of the house. Right, so I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to make it darker, draw in all the horizontal lines. And now we have the depth of the side, right? The side is now indicated, okay? So, okay. So this house can be finished just the way it is, but it's pretty nondescript, so I'm going to add some features to it. I'm going to add a solar panel here, and I'm going to add a window here, okay? And the reason why I'm doing two different types of openings on the roof structure is so that I can create a little bit of a contrast. So I'm going to do a little attic window here. And the attic window, I'm going to just draw it with a guideline, okay? and I'm going to indicate the height of the window. So the height of the window from the side view is going to be transferred over to here, and the position of that window is going to be transferred upwards, like this, right? So all we have to do is to find the position of this window either on the top or on the side, okay? So for the sake of simplicity, right, why don't we say that the window is going to be this wide as seen from the side view, right? So that is going to be the width of my window. I'm going to draw that in dark, right? And I'm going to then send a guideline upwards with my red pencil, okay? So remember, if you have a diagonal line going across this box here, you can now reflect that line 90 degrees so that we could place the window on the top view. Okay, so now we've boxed out this window, and so we can draw it. The guidelines are going vertical from this side of the house, and it is going vertical and then reflected from the short side of the house, right? So now I can draw in my window, right? So this is the window as seen from the top, right? Like this. Okay? And then I'm going to draw my window over here. So if we were to make, for example, a design change, let's say I wanted to add a little bit of a pitch to this window, right? I don't want it to be a square box, but I want to have a little slope to this window. That's the slope. I bring the guidelines across, okay? And then I find the middle of this window, right? The middle of this window, we find it by making a cross through the plane, and we now have the exact middle of the window. And I'm going to bring it up here, and the tip of that roof is going to be right here in the middle of the window, right? So now I need to make some changes in my drawing. I don't have these corners anymore, so I'm just going to lightly erase them, right? And then I also have to change the view from the top. So I'm going to send this guideline, right? The corner of the roof hits the perpendicular roof line over here. So we have to send a guideline up this way. And then the middle of that attic window is going to be reflected across to here, to this position. Okay, so now I'm going to add some lines to change my drawing so that it is keeping with the rest of the projections. Okay, so now we can change this part, right? We can change this part. Okay, and that's what the roof looks like from the top with this adjustment, right? So the last thing I need to do is just make a line over here. So now I have the roof completely drawn, okay? So this is sticking out, but what if we had a solar panel here that was flat to the roof? Well, we don't see it on this side, but we do see it from the top. So why don't we make a solar panel, right? And why don't I just, just eyeball it and just say our solar panel is going to be that wide, right? It's going to have come in a little bit like this, okay? So if I wanted to divide this and make this into a grid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the diagonal that will fit the amount of grid lines that I want to do. So let's say I can fit 7 in there. I'm going to do a grid of 7, okay? Like this, right? And so that will give me 7 equally spaced vertical lines. Right? And I just now have to find the spacing that goes horizontal. So the easiest way for that to happen is just to draw a diagonal line, and it will intersect all of this, and that will give me the spacing that I want to create the perpendicular lines going across. Okay, this will definitely reflect in the other side view, and we're going to bring that down in a moment once we've drawn out this pattern over here. So what did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have to erase. Yes. Just bring it down a little bit. So the nice thing about having guidelines is that, they are not penciled in. So now we can pencil it in and create our solar panel. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this. One, make it dark so that now becomes a committed line instead of just a construction line. And now I can do the horizontals. That's the top and the bottom lines. Okay, so now we're just going to reflect everything across. So just reflecting everything across, sending all of the guidelines across like this. Construction lines are incredibly useful, and you should not shy away from making them. You just have to find an efficient way of using them so that they don't clog up the page, right? I mean, it's very easy to have a drawing with thousands of construction lines, and you just have to be efficient with your lines. Okay, so we've reflected them across and we get all of these stripes, but how do we find this? We bring the verticals down towards the roof, and the roof itself will give us the position of all of these lines if we take them across, right, to the other projection. Now, even though the house is very simple, it has quite a few features. So now I'm just going to darken this grid over here. I'm going to go this way so that I don't smudge my pencil line. Okay, when you do a lot of lines, it's good to put the pencil where you want the mark to begin and then move the ruler over. Okay, I'm a little bit off on this line, so I'm just going to erase it. It's not a problem, right? It's normal to just sometimes be off. You can always redraw it, but the thing is you have to address it right away, otherwise you're going to forget. Okay, so now we have the grid to our house, right? And that is how we make the orthographic drawing.